Hi, this is Mike from BandLab's. In this video, we're going to look at how you can use effects, processing, and layering to customize your sounds in BandLab. You can open this project yourself with the link in the video description. And if you find this guide useful, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to be the first to know when new videos drop. BandLab features dozens of instruments and thousands of samples, and you can make your tracks even more individual using some quick processing tricks. My first suggestion is to try using a bandpass filter on a synth loop. This can give the sound a new character, and also an interesting textural movement. Here's a synth loop sample with no processing. Here's what it sounds like with the tone multi-filter set to bandpass mode. It doesn't sound very interesting because the filter cutoff frequency is fixed. However, if we automate the filter cutoff frequency, we get an intriguing vocal style movement. The bandpass filter quiets the sound, so I add a utility gain effect. My second tip is to try reversing sections of samples. Here I slice the end of the synth loop, which is achieved by positioning the playhead over the part of the audio clip you want to slice, by pressing the S key or right-clicking and selecting Slice. I then right-click the part I want to reverse and select Reverse Region. This works well with the bandpass filtering too. A third technique is to slice and rearrange drum loops. This allows you to create new rhythms, and this can be particularly useful if a particular drum loop needs tweaking to work with the rhythms of the rest of the elements in your track. Here's the drum loop without editing. Here's how it sounds once I've chopped and rearranged it. The fourth way to get more from your sounds is to use layering. Here I have a big weighty sub bass. This sound is heavy, but it doesn't have a mid-range component to help it punch through the mix. By layering it up with a sound that sits more in the mid-range, we get a big, full-range bass sound that really fills up the frequency spectrum. My fifth technique also pertains to layering, but this time I want to specifically look at how useful offset layering can be. Here I have a snare. It's solid but a bit dull. So I layer it with a clap. This makes the snare sound fuller in the highs. However, we don't necessarily need to play the snare and clap at exactly the same time. And in fact, we can get a different feel by making small adjustments to the timing of the clap relative to the snare. Here I've turned snap to grid off and moved the clap to the left very slightly, so that it plays just before the snare, giving us a looser, more organic feel. A sixth trick is to try repitching vocal samples. Here I'm going to pitch this vocal sample down an octave by reducing its pitch shift value by 12. This means it plays on the same key, so it'll still sound in key, but an octave lower, so it'll be much lower pitched. This is useful for creating a call and response effect. A seventh suggestion is to try running a sound through a reverb that's set to 100% wet. This means you'll only hear the reverb effect, and none of the unprocessed sound. Check out how we can turn this solid, noisy impact effect into a lighter, splashier sound with some 100% wet reverb. My eighth and final trick is to use BandLab's pumper effect to soften or otherwise change the dynamic feel of percussion loops. This shaker loop has a hard, almost abrasive quality. However, if I add the dynamics pumper effect, then set the time to 1/8, the signal ducks when the harshest part of the loop plays, giving us a softer sound. Remember, you can fork this project and make your own version of it using the link in the video description. Have fun!